Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call together our board meeting here today, February 6th. I'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning again. We'll begin with our consideration of agenda items. Do we have any additions or corrections to today's agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd like to request an addition to the agenda to add discussion on the North Star Act legislation.
Put that under administration, or would you like it?
8H would work.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections to today's agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'll move agenda with the added item.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second? Motion by Schmal, second by Nagel to approve today's agenda items with one addition. Any discussion? See none, will proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve today's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next will be employee relations. Hannah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have two items this morning. Item A is consider approving the evaluation committee's grading recommendation for the Parks and Recreation Maintenance Job Worker job description, which is a grade 150. This position was previously the park supervisor and was reevaluated to reflect the needs of the Park and Recreation unit and to work to fulfill the organizational chart that was approved by the board back in 2020. This grade, the park supervisor was a grade 150, and so this is no change to the grade.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve the evaluation committee's grading on the Parks and Recreation Maintenance Worker. Any discussion? Seeing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B is consider approving the evaluation committee's grading recommendation for the human resources generalist job description as a grade 160. This job description was last evaluated in 2019 and since then has significantly changed. And one of the major reasons is is due to absorbing duties from a vacant position that was not filled within administration, as we were able to find efficiencies and make some changes within the department. The job has been currently graded a 150, and after evaluation, in addition to those duties, is a grade 160.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
this was also brought to us at the Personnel Committee level. We discussed it in detail, and actually, in my opinion, creates some efficiencies throughout that department. So I would move to approve.
Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to consider approving the evaluation committee's grading for the human resource generalist job description. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd just like to also add that, the Personnel Committee has, sorry about that, I would just like to add that Personnel Committee has reviewed this, and so if there's any questions, I just encourage, Joe and I have went through this, and I guess we both agree that on the ask, and so if there's any from the rest of the board, though, I'd encourage them to ask any question.
Okay, any further comments or questions? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Health and Human Resources. Barrett.
Good morning.
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 I have one item for you today. Item A is to consider approving out-of-state travel for Carrie Ward, health educator, from April 10th, 2024 through April 12th, 2024, to attend the 2024 Welcoming Interactive Conference in Dallas, Texas, at a cost of $2,000 with grant funds. McLeod Sibley Community Health Services was awarded a spot on the Welcoming America World Rural Welcoming Initiative, that's a mouthful. And the purpose for this travel request is for staff to attend the conference. That is a requirement of participating in this initiative. The money will go to Meeker McLeod Sibley CHS, $2,000 travel stipend, and they will reimburse us for that cost for Carrie. So seeking approval for her out-of-state travel.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I will move approval to have Carrie go out of state for travel.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Schmal, second by Nagel, to approve out-of-state travel for Carrie Ward at a cost of $2,000 paid for by grant funds. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
the reason I paused and then did second it simply for discussion, but can you tell us more, like a broader, what, sorry to put you on the spot. What does this exactly mean? Because, the packet tells the story that the agenda did.
Sure. So the initiative we needed to apply for, and we got 2 spots, one for Carrie and one for another health educator in Sibley County. So they are both going to be attending this conference. But the work that is part of this initiative is going to go to all the work that we need to do as part of public health in the CHS. Equity, inclusion, some part of our strategy plan. So it's going to help us meet all those things that are in our community assessment, our SHIP planning. So it's going to help us meet a lot of the goals that we have set for ourselves by being part of this.
I know there are also requirements, correct? Part of these?
Correct. Yes, they are requirements for us.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. When you say requirements, what does that mean?
So as a public health or as a CHS, there are certain requirements that we need to meet, that we have to do, that we have to provide. And we do that we receive grant funding, and then with each grant, we make a work plan to achieve those goals.
Okay. I'm just gonna shoot from the hip and like I usually do, but I have a heart, because I don't know who this impacts or who do we help. I mean, obviously, I have something coming up later, and we have such an influx of immigrants, illegal aliens coming in here. How does this tie in together? I mean, I'm noticing in different departments, we're creating things and money that, I won't say fight each other, but they contradict each other.
I would say this doesn't contradict anything. This supplements the work that we're already trying to do.
Yeah.
And so by receiving this grant to attend this for Carrie and her partner in Sibley, to be able to bring this information back would be a great resource for us.
All right, thank you.
Chair,
Go ahead.
and please, hopefully you're listening, but nothing against these questions, right? It's just, it seems like, well, here's grant funds for $2 bucks, you better spend. It gets a little, makes you nuts sometimes when you're trying to figure all of this, navigate all of these coming at you. But thank you for being able to answer the questions.
I should reiterate that $2,000, we couldn't use it for anything else. That $2,000 is stipend for the travel and the conference.
Kind of my point.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that I value Carrie as a very important employee when it comes to public health, and her experience is much appreciated in McLeod County and at the CHP level as well. She's one of our grant writers. She fills in voids when there are voids to fill in. So I have no trouble with approving the motion as requested.
Okay, any further comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Environmental Services, Mr. Telecki.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
One item this morning, and that is consider approving conditional use permit 23-18 for Seneca Foods Corporation of Glencoe, Minnesota, requesting to construct a dissolved air flotation building and a concrete pad for geotextile dewatering bags to assist with phosphorus reduction and wastewater treatment in the agricultural district on approximately 6 acres of the 123.14 acre parcel located in the northeast quarter of the south half of the Section 21 and Section 22 of Glencoe Township. The Glencoe Township Board recommended approval on January 11th, 2024. The McLeod County Advisory Planning Commission recommended approval at its meeting on January 24th, 2024, with the following conditions. Number one, the road committee established per conditional use permit 23-16 will not sign off on the condition of 95th Street until construction for conditional use permit 23-16 and conditional use permit 23-18 are completed. So with that being said, 23-16 was a conditional use permit we heard at the first meeting in January of this year for the construction of an additional pond, wastewater pond for phosphorus reduction. This is phase 2 of that. The reason they did not put these both together, and I appreciate Seneca and Zach working on that with us, they were waiting for engineering on the building and then the construction of the pad for these phosphorus reduction bags. Again, I was at the township meeting in January, and they were very comfortable with everything, and they wanted to know how we were going to treat that condition stated in 23-16 for the condition of the road, which is why we brought that forward, just to make sure that one didn't precede the other and the road was signed off and then there were potential issues. We do not foresee there being potential issues. Majority of the construction is going to be cross traffic on 95th Street. It's not going to be up and down the road. So with that being said, I'll turn it back to the board if there are questions of me. Seneca's group is here today if you have questions for them, but it does seem to be a seamless process.
Sure. Go ahead.
And I don't know, Mark, if this is something you can answer or if our group from Seneca can answer. So the phosphorus bag itself, it's removing phosphorus from the water, the way I understand it, correct?
Correct.
So then does the bag get, does it get replaced if it reaches its maximum level of phosphorus? What do they do with the bag after it's spent, let's say?
That's a great question. I can answer that or attempt to, but I think I'm going to ask Paul. Paul did the explanation at the township and did a great job of doing that because there were some questions, so I'll let him speak to the process.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Paul Beeman from Seneca Foods, Environmental Compliance Manager. So what happens is these are basically drying bags. And so it's going to look similar to like a haylage bag, except it's going to have holes in it. So we're going to be pumping a slurry into these bags, and it's going to slowly drain out. And then on the solids that are remaining in these bags is going to be land spread into local fields. So it's going to be phosphorus and algae, basically, because phosphorus makes algae in these ponds. So it's going to probably look similar to manure, but it's not going to smell like manure because it's not going to have the organic load that manure would have. If that kind of answers your question, or do you want me to go into more detail?
It does. I was just kind of interested in the life of a bag.
A bag is going to be, we're going to fill up, it's probably going to be 4 or 5 bags on this pad, and it's going to be, the bag's going to be one use because we're going to have to destroy the bag to remove the contents. We're going to have to cut the bags open, get a skid steer, or maybe a payloader, but probably a skid steer in there to load onto a spreader or a truck to take that contents out of there.
What's the expected life of, let's say, a bag, or when do you think that you'll be emptying a bag from its contents?
Well, there's we're not exactly sure of that. We're hoping to be maybe 2-3 bags a year, but there's a lot of variability depending on how quickly we can discharge our water and how much algae we grow. We know how much solids we have in our water, but how much algae we grow in the pond, depending on our discharge window, is going to be kind of make the difference of how much we have to land apply. So can't give you real answers on that. And we've been to other facilities, but nobody is exactly like ours. So I'm hesitant to give you any real answers on that.
Okay, thank you for addressing us today.
So the sludge that's then produced, is that something that you contract with area farmland to haul that out then and use it as a fertilizer amendment in the program?
Yeah, a soil amendment, yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
No, I think, I've seen a couple of them. I don't know much about the bag one. I've seen the floors where they let it dry and reload and do that type of thing. Now, how how is this actually filtered? I mean, where does the sludge, is it come from your main water line and do you filter it and auger it out, or how do you actually, how does it work?
So this dissolved air flotation unit that we're putting in the building is is fine bubble that we're going to be putting in a tank. I'm going to try to simplify the process for you. But it's like a tank. We're pumping our water through there with some fine bubbles and some flocculants to make all the solids coagulate, and that's going to separate the solids from the water, so we can discharge the water into the stream, and the phosphorus and the algae is going to be separated in that process in this building, and then from there it's going to be pumped into these bags.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmaltz, to consider approving conditional use permit 2318 for Seneca Foods. Any further discussion? I think this is great. I think it's a great story as well about how businesses are coming up with new technologies and new ways to handle material. So I think,
Mr. Chair, if I may
very
to
good.
add one thing. So just for clarification, Seneca is doing this because of a requirement from the federal government with EPA. This wasn't something that they came forward and said, we're going to try something different. This is a requirement of their NPDES permit, and they do have to meet a requirement for phosphate reduction. So for their business cycle, they had to do something. So I appreciate their willingness and their work on this, and it has been a very good process.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I do as well. I'm glad to see they're proactive in this. I mean, I know some other options that take a lot more land and a lot more. I'm excited to see how this works. So when you get done, I would like to come and see that. I've looked at a couple different ones, and this seems to be this close to towns and the river. It seems to be a really good plan.
Very good. Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Building maintenance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Consider approving a quote from Lupine Construction LLC out of Hudson, Minnesota for door replacement at the McLeod County Environmental Services Facility at a cost of $6,800 with funds from the Environmental Services building budget. We did get a second quote from Shower & Sons for $12,100. And then I'd like to add on this quote, there was an option to upgrade to a 4-foot door opening frame and door. That's something me and Mark had briefly talked about. We think that'd be pretty beneficial to that area of the building to have the wider opening. So that total cost would be $7,070.
So are you then asking to approve this at a cost of $7,070 instead of the $6,800?
I am.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that's my question too. So that just, we can take out the 6,800 and the total cost in the motion would be $70,000 or
$7,070.
$7,070. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, to approve the quote from Lupine Construction for $7,070 to replace the door. Funds coming from the Environmental Services building budget. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I may, just for clarification, that is the old redemption room. It's where our shredders are currently. It's very well used. There are 2 slider doors in there, extremely inefficient, especially now. They're both broken. They won't work. They're old. They can't even be serviced. So to find parts for those old doors is very difficult. We've been manually opening them, and during the cold weather, obviously, we've had to shut those rooms down, which has caused some disruption for the community. And regardless of what we do, those doors should be replaced just for the mere fact that they are not efficient, and from a heating and cooling standpoint, it's costing us money. So I would appreciate the consideration. And that 4-foot door, adding that just makes that room that much more usable than a 3-0 door.
Very good.
That's not a fire, is that a fire door as well? Or?
It will be. Steel entry, yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
Any further
I
discussion?
do have one more question. I don't know the contractor. Is that a local contractor that I just don't know, or?
He is, yep.
And we've used them before. I mean,
Use them at the fairgrounds.
oh, okay, fine. Shame on me. I don't know who he is, so.
I've never used him personally, but I was told he used to work for the county, or?
He used to be a commercial contractor, and then he split off from the commercial entity that he was with and went on his own and is doing work in our area now. So he's done some work with the county in the past, not as an individual to my understanding, through the company he was with. Very highly sought after, so very grateful for his willingness to give us a quote on this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I said, I think, now I'm always up, but we use the fairgrounds.
I'm honestly sure, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I think maybe even that building. So,
Any discussion? Sounds like a good with that bigger there and replace that other one. So, seeing no need to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you. Moving to county administration, our calendar, Mr. Nagel.
wow, we're there already?
Yeah, we're there.
Well, I usually don't share this kind of stuff, but I've been under the weather quite a bit lately, so I don't have a ton to report. But unfortunately, one meeting that I did miss was the legislative meeting here, I believe it was last Friday. And I was disappointed because I was going to bring up, and it was on the agenda, about the rural coverage for paramedic services out here. But I'll leave it short that I'm excited that it sounds like there's some traction in St. Paul about that to address some of those issues. And I appreciate that our local legislators were willing to help carry the water on that, because it's something that needs to be discussed. So that's all I have for today.
Okay. The first meeting I'll report on is I attended the McLeod County Fair Board meeting, and I was able to deliver the good news that we approved excuse me, the building project, and the group was really excited about that, and it was a lot of the members were there that night, and they wanted to express a big thank you back to the county board, not only for the approval of this building, but just the continual support that we've been able to provide, that joint relationship between the McLeod County Board and the McLeod County Ag Association, the Fair Board. And, there's actually a couple of the individuals that have been there for decades that actually made the comment that they are really glad that years ago that move was made to transfer ownership of the fairgrounds from the Ag Association over to the county. And to hear that is a big statement. That is a really, really big remark that needed to be brought here. So that group is very excited about what we have been doing and what we are doing in the future. Moving on to, I attended the McLeod County Corn and Soybean Association meeting, and I was at the Glencoe City Center. The room was full of people involved in agriculture and area farmers, and just to see that local leadership in that organization, and very, very active group, all the way from their president, Matt Miller, and again, these are all local names. Being able to hold that night together as he moderated all the different parts of that banquet. And then the farmers that are active in both the state and federal level were able to come up to the microphone. And these are names that I think we've all heard often. Brian Thalman, farm south of Plato. Ryan Mockentune, west of Glencoe. Bob Lindeman, southern edge of the county, and we'll see his name here shortly on the agenda. These individuals, they're not only reading just committee reports, these are the guys that are on Zoom calls, sitting in the rooms. They're in different sessions that are actually working on those policy, those policy ideas and defending them at both state and federal levels, and putting up a considerable amount of time in the growing, raising, and marketing of both corn and soybeans, and a lot of rural issues as well. And they spoke so well about the issues that you can tell that they're putting a ton of their own time into that. And then a young lady by the name of Emily Burns. She grew up family farm south of Fernando. spent many years in 4-H program, FFA program. She actually interned with the 4-H program here in our office. Right out of college, she actually grabbed the job with Minnesota Corn as the regional representative of 18 counties. And she grabbed the mic and just did a fantastic job of how her ability to represent those state and federal issues to the counties that she works with. You can just see what all of those years 4-H and FFA just coming through right there, and how well that investment in those youth leadership opportunities just paid off, because it was clear that night. But I was just impressed as to the power of that local leadership, and what they're doing for our local agriculture is pretty impressive. Mr. Nagel then talked a little bit about that legislative meeting, and that was an opportunity for our county board and our department heads and administration to meet with Senators Glenn Gruenhagen, Representatives Bobby Harder, Don Gilman, and we also had representation here from Michelle Fishbach, Tina Smith, and Amy Klobuchar's office as well. So it was a real productive couple hours. I was at lunch with them. We were able to talk about a lot of issues, and I think that that's really important that we try to maintain that as an annual event here to be able to talk through issues. So that was my calendar.
Thank you, Paul. I forgot my formal calendar here, but I'm running through it real quick. Since our last meeting, I've had several ditch meetings, mostly one to do with separable maintenance, and the rest pretty much to do with redetermination of benefits. I also had a Trailblazer board meeting. I had Plato Fire Department invited us over to their annual banquet, which was, they do it every year, and I really appreciate it. It gives me a chance to meet that area of firefighters. We had a economic development meeting as well, also a Buffalo Creek watershed meeting, an HRA meeting, and that brings us up to today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger. And my calendar had been quite full the last couple of weeks, so I'll start off with the 16th. After our last county board meeting, I had a well-being committee meeting that I attended, and being we authorized Carrie to do some out-of-state travel. I will share with you that Carrie Ward does lead that committee here, and it pertains to McLeod County and the employees that work for McLeod County when we discussed well-being. On the 17th, I did a Zoom meeting that was put on by MCIT. It pertained to open meeting law, and it was kind of like a primer on maybe what changes may have come about concerning open meeting law and its compliance. It was put on by Sonia Gugamas, who is the attorney, MCIT attorney serving MCIT. On the 18th, I had a Pioneerland library meeting in Wilmer. One thing I want to share with the group is that Lori Ortega is in her last year of serving. She does plan on retiring at the end of the year. So I think Lori's been with Pioneerland for several years, and so we'll have some changes coming when we roll into the new year concerning Pioneerland Library. And then on Monday the 22nd, Commissioner Kruger and I attended a landowner meeting here on one of the ditch systems that is in my district, and I believe in Darrell's district as well. And we appreciated the attendance. It was a presentation put on by H2 Overviewers, and where the landowners were called in to review the redeterminations according to their findings. And again, on Thursday, the 25th, Commissioner Kruger and I attended another landowner meeting pertaining to ditches here in McLeod County, again put on by H2 Overviewers to look at the findings of their redeterminations. On the 26th, I had a CHB Executive Committee meeting attended by Zoom. Monday, the 29th, Support Hands Nurse Family Partnership met in Olivia. I guess I really don't have anything to share about the meeting we had. It was pretty much business as usual for that group. On the 30th, we had our legislative workshop right here at the Government Center. Happy to see our legislators here and their aides as well, and giving us their attention. They are our voice, whether it's federal or state legislation that's going on. After that legislative workshop ended, I did do the tour in Hutchinson that Liz organized for us. It was the company called MITGI. Don't ask me what that stands for. Maybe Liz could help me with that. But this is a machining company that now occupies what once was the Shopco building in Hutchinson. And we had some of the federal legislators join us on that tour, along with our state legislators as well. And then I'll wrap it up by saying I received several communications concerning the flag resolution that the county board enacted, all of them in support of the resolution, and they were very happy to hear that we brought that resolution forward. Where it's going to take us, we don't know, but if it helps Glenn, if it helps Dawn, if it helps Bobby, that's a good thing down at state legislature. And then being Commissioner Luthens has been out the last few days, I did Prime West Joint Powers Board meeting on Thursday the 1st. The meeting was held in Alexandria, Minnesota. One of the takeaways that I'll bring back to our county board on that meeting, and this is probably something Spence and Sheila may be interested in, I guess they do run a fleet of cars for Prime West, and they do calculate their cost to run their fleet at 44 cents a mile. So that's probably something you want to remember, being that we have struggled with that issue here in McLeod County as well. And the other thing that I'll mention about the Prime West Joint Powers Board is they're budgeting a cost of living increase of 2.8% now for this year throughout their system. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Anything from Attorney's Office? Oh. Okay, Administration, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item A, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-13, Additional Citizen Committee Appointment. This resolution appoints Bob Lindeman to the Feedlot Committee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Nagel, second by Schmaltz to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-13. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
not just a short statement. Bob is going to be a good addition to this committee. You alluded to his hard work here a little earlier. And he, good young farmer. Well, everybody's young to me, but a good young farmer in a good farming rural district. So.
Very good. I agree with that. Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next 5 items are for some of our units for unions at McLeod County, 5 of our 8. And this does not make any change to the wage schedules that you have already previously approved. This is just a memorandum agreement for those 5 of 8. Item B, consider approving the memorandum of agreement for wage schedule implementation with Law Enforcement Labor Services, licensed sergeants, local number 297, for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024.
Move agreement, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Schmaltz, second by Nagel to approve the memorandum of agreement for local sergeants number 297. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C, consider approving the memorandum of agreement for wage schedule implementation with Minnesota Public Employee Association Communication Officer and Correctional Officer Unit for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024.
Move agreement, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Schmal, second by Kruger to consider the memorandum of agreement for the Communications Officer, Correction Officer Unit. Any further discussion? We will then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item D, consider approving the same memorandum of agreement for the Deputy Unit for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Nagel, second by Schmaltz to consider approving the memorandum of agreement for the deputy unit. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item E, consider approving the same memorandum of agreement with the Public Works Unit.
Second.
Motion by Nagel, second by Schmaltz to consider approving the memorandum of agreement for the Public Works Unit. Any discussion? Then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, consider approving the same memorandum of agreement for the General Unit.
Move agreement.
Second.
Motion by Schmaltz, second by Kruger to consider approving the memorandum of agreement for the general unit. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item G, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, February 20, 2024, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. And then the addition of item H was the discussion of the North Star Act from Commissioner Kruger. Thank
Go ahead,
you.
Commissioner Kruger.
Thank you. I apologize, first of all, and it pains me a bit to feel I have to do this, but it came on fairly fast. The North Star Amendment is making Minnesota a sanctuary state. As a citizen, a veteran, and a whole other, as a commissioner, I'm very
Mr. Chair,
much-
I'm sorry. You are very difficult to hear. Can you move your microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm very opposed to this legislation. That it's fiscally going to hurt us a lot. There's so much to us, I don't even know where to start. The last couple of days, I've been trying to watch the legislation, look at the bills, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of partisan politics. So it just happens to go there because of the sides that talk about it, because to me, it has nothing to do with partisan politics and all to do with the Constitution. And I wasn't sure. The legislature opens, I believe, on the 18th. That's a Sunday, but I think it is the 18th. And both these, is it the 12th?
Yeah, Monday.
Okay. Sorry. And that presents an urgency to try and do this. And at the start of this meeting, when I talked to the chair, I didn't know if we'd have a resolution ready, and I see our administration has a resolution here, because the urgency is that their bills are ready to go, and from what I'm understanding, is they're going to put them to a vote right off the bat. And does that mean the 12th? I don't know, the 13th. I hope there's enough resistance for some debate. That would be great. So our times weren't crunched, but I guess I'll present this to the other board members. There's an urgency to get this resolution out. How much it helps us, I don't know, but at least I've got a number of calls on it. I've got, and when I say a number, not like hundreds, but a number of people have called me. Some other counties, I've talked with them on this. I mean, I guess we passed out the resolution, so I don't know if you all got to read it. Ryan, I guess this ball is really in your court. Do you see anything bad or in that resolution that we shouldn't? my time periods are bad. If we have to wait, which if we have to, we have to. But if we have to wait, we can't see it till our next meeting unless we have a special meeting in order to get it to our legislators or get it to the legislature before session opens.
Mr. Chair, just
ahead.
quickly, the resolution that I drafted should have what you've asked to be included to present to the board members and the county attorney. So they haven't had time, of course, to review it
Right.
because I just had the printed copies this morning. So I would think that maybe you want to take a time period for them to read that and you would need to present it because we did not have time with your,
When you say
Asking
time
for it to
period,
be
how long?
added.
Can we take a break? Can we,
you would need to recess the meeting
And,
for them to have time to review it. Thank you.
again, I just want to say that I apologize for it kind of, I know I don't want so much drama, but it kind of sickens me that we have to go through all this. I spent quite a bit of the last couple of days on the phone talking to other counties, other groups. And, I mean, this is a one-page resolution. If you Google this, or Google the North Star Act, or even look in the Constitution for that matter, on how people are supposed to be handling what our law enforcement and our health and human services can and can't do, it'll break, in my words, it'll break the system. I mean, we could write 10 pages, and I don't know that that would help us. I think a good general resolution, again, we'll look through it, and Ryan, I'm going to hold to you, but if we could, how long a recess do you think we could take?
10-minute recess.
Okay, I move to take a 10-minute recess to come back at, or let's come back in at 5:02, is that, we got a clock out there now, so I'm going by.
Motion recess till 9:55.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that? We have a motion and a second to recess our board meeting until 9:55, and we will reconvene. As for a quick vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
I apologize for that, I didn't know if she'd have one already. Because we could get out in the weeds and do a technical one, and that isn't gonna help us. I mean, I don't know what to say, I'm open, I just don't, I can't see this legislation flying through without anybody at least something